Welcome to Sunrise Educational Publishing. Our aim is to empower literacy and learning. We envision a future where every child in Africa is a reader. Our mission is to make learning to read easy and exciting, and to inspire children in Africa and beyond through reading stories relevant to their environment. You can learn more by clicking on our link sunriseliteracy.com. These books probably look very familiar to many of you. That is because they have been the backbone of learning to read in countries in Southern Africa, especially Zimbabwe. However, these are brand new books. They've been revamped, they've been edited, and they've been brought up to date so that they're very contemporary. You can see that these books have different colored spines. The purple books are the starter level. Those are the very beginning of this reading scheme, and those include books 1, 2, and 3. And then you go into the green books, which is level 1. And then you have level 2, level 3, and so on. This means that if you match them to maybe a scheme from the UK or from America, they will be able to interlink. Barack Obama once said, "Reading is a gateway skill that makes all other learning possible." And that is why we think learning to read is so important. My name is Dilys Green, and we're going to be producing a few videos to just help you to optimize the use of these Sunrise readers. It seems an obvious thing to say, but actually we need to make sure that children are able to see properly. We have these perceptual skills that the children need to be able to identify. If we look at these pictures, what do you see? All 4 of them are spoons, but look at these ones. There's an A. Is that an A? No, it's not. And the children have to understand that that's wrong. We have further complications. There's a B. Is it a Q? Is it a 9? And these are the things that children will find confusing as they go along. So I'm going to give you 4 or 5, actually, I tell you what. There's 6 different things to do with perceptual skills and visual perception that you need to check out and practice a lot before children start reading and whilst they are reading as well. The first of our different exercises that need to be done regularly before teaching reading is one for visual discrimination, the ability to distinguish one shape from another. You'll see this in many preschool books. Here's an example of something. Circle the pictures that are the same, or circle the pictures that are different. The next check we need to do is to do with our visual memory. So visual memory is the ability to remember a specific form when removed from your visual field. So here's an example. What's missing? Draw it in. Very simple. 2 pictures almost identical. What's missing? Spot the difference. You could play things like Kim's game, where you have a tray with different things on, say 10 different things, take 2 off. What's missing? Those are the things you can do to develop this skill. The next skill is to do with spatial relations. Spatial relations is the ability to recognize the same shape in a different spatial orientation. And here's an example of that. You have a lot of things all on a page. Circle all of the frogs. So they look, some are upside down, some are the right way, some are diving, some are, so they just circle those. There's many examples of those in preschool books that you will be able to find. The next one that we need to know is sequential memory, the ability to recall 2 to 7 items in sequence. So this is where they would be saying the alphabet or counting or completing patterns, such as you see here. But that's very important. That's why we do nursery rhymes. That's why we do Bible verses, always to get the memory that things go in order. Let's look at the next one. And the last one I want to just bring up before we move on is figure versus background. And it's the ability to discern forms when they're camouflaged or muddled. This is a very simple exercise. You might say to the child, can you find the crocodile? And they find the crocodile. Can you find the lion? They find the lion. Or you might have the similar thing with a lot of animals. How many elephants can you find? How many bears can you find? And they have to write that down. But this is how, it's like from a muddle, they can find a specific thing. So after that, we need to move on to what we call reading direction. Let's have a look what I mean there. So in an ideal world, a child would have had their mom or dad or carer looking after them and reading books from the very beginning. But we all know that in nowadays that doesn't happen. And you get a child who picks up a book and doesn't know the front from the back. So you, as the educator, needs to spend time showing a child how we start at the front of the book and go to the back, how everything is from the left to the right. And that is what we call the reading direction. I always, on my classroom board, would have an arrow like that at the top of my board when very first day when I start teaching reading, so that everything we talk about is a reading direction. Now, I find that it's very easy to actually train the brain of a child. So when they're very little and they're helping you wash the dishes, have the dirty dishes on the left, into the sink, out to the right. If you have children putting their toys away, try to put the toy box to the right of the child, so they pick up the toys on the left and put them in on the right. This is subliminal training, but it's really important, and most people don't get it. So go from the left to the right in as many different ways as you can, and that will help a child. On the website, we also have a few ideas. Play a game where the children go through a tunnel, or butterflies flying to a flower, or a bird flying to a nest. You can have these on worksheets. I would personally do it in concrete form first. So play with the children in your class, or even your own children if you're working from home, and have a little dance around. Okay, everybody, here's the flowers. Now we're coming out. We're a little butterfly and we're coming out of our cocoon, and now we're going to fly and smell all the flowers, and you direct it. So the child, you're not teaching, and we're going to go in the reading direction. No, it's up to you to think about it for the child, and that will help them. So it goes without saying that you really need to make sure that the child can hear properly and can see properly. If you get any inkling that maybe they're not coping with some of these activities, have their eyes tested, have their ears tested, and rule that out. That's very important. So this is another thing we need to know. Begin at the top. Begin at the top of your page. You've got to, when you show the children the book, you've got to show them where to begin, because they might just open it randomly. It's not only for reading, it's for all their writing and everything. Unless you are from an Arab country or a Hebrew country or Chinese or Japanese, we're going to start from the left and go to the right. And of course, that's how the sunrise readers are set out. So that's a very, very important pre-reading skill that you need to make sure the children understand. And all of these things I've shared today, you're continually doing them. You just up the standard and make them a little bit more difficult or a bit more age appropriate. There's a lot on the internet that you can do. I did not want to download them because of copyright, but our own site also has some ideas. So please get stuck in and enjoy it. Begin at the top, work to the bottom. Have a great day.